Hello fellow Watchdog fans, Tweaking from Hong Kong here. I made this video because of a trip I recently took to Los Angeles, thanks to one of the coolest company out there, Ubisoft. They invited me and a bunch of other cool players of Ubisoft games to participate in E3 2019 last year. Oh, this year, sorry. Last week, that's what I meant. It was awesome. We got to see a lot of cool games, and we try hands-on demos, and I was very fortunate to be invited primarily because of the props and fan art me and my girlfriend makes. I was very fortunate that Ubisoft saw our fan art and like what we do, and wholeheartedly thanks to all the cool people at Ubisoft to make such an awesome experience. So after the Watchdogs Legion trailer comes out, I was immediately drawn to this white skull mask. As a prop maker, I feel like I must 3D model this and print it out for my collection. So this is a video containing some time-lapse screen cap of my modeling process, I guess. Yes. So I'm using the software called Blender. It's a free and open source software. You can download it and try it yourself completely free of charge. And what I did is to drag in an image as a reference, and starting with a flat plane, I trace out the basic shape. This basic shape give me a very good start in terms of proportion, but being completely flat means there's some work to be done to convert it to look organic and match the reference. In the first part of the modeling process, I am mainly breaking this flat plane into interesting form. So I wasn't really trying to match the shape in the first pass. I just need to make this plane into a subset of smaller faces and plane, so it would be a fun playground for me to refine the shape later. I also have reference photo loaded up on the second screen on the side, so I'm fortunately not winging it or inventing the shape on the spot. It was quite a fun challenge to see how the artists in Ubisoft stylize a skull, because this is not an actual skull that they are creating. It's a sculpt-shaped mask that hangs on top of a full-grown face. So I see them stylize some of the form and make it tapers to the face, but still reads as a bit mysterious and a little bit menacing as a skull. The technique here is pretty repetitive. You see me using a knife tool to cut a big face into smaller faces, and these smaller faces allow me to create finer curvature changes or finer bending, and slowly get the shape more and more interesting. And there are a lot of different branches of 3D modeling techniques. This method I'm using, it's often called polygonal modeling or box modeling. It's a bit old school. There are some more recent technique, like with the software like ZBrush or other sculpting software. Even within Blender, you have a sculpting option. You can start to block out shape in sculpting. It would be like a digital clay you can manipulate and virtually. But for me, I still find a box modeling quite handy before I take this 3D model into the sculpting phase. The sculpting phase would enable me to create asymmetry and finer details on the mesh. So what I call blockout mesh is simple mesh that defines the proportion and shapes. And I don't want to worry about proportion and shape in sculpting. I just want to have fun and create all the smaller details in the sculpting pass. But sometimes I do start with sculpting. It also depends on what kind of project and how much time you have to spend on the project. So now I was looking at the sculpt from this low cut angle, and I noticed my sculpt face was very flat. So it's always a good idea to take a look at reference. So I did look at reference and refine the shape, but that part of the modeling was not captured properly. I lost the video somehow. So now we're skipping ahead and seeing how the crown was made. So unlike the skull mask, the crown now are simple planes. They are not solid blocks because I didn't intend on 3D printing the crown directly. Based on the holographic design, I think I may need to use some more handcraft method to create the look, either with plastic strip or optical fiber. So this model need not to be solid. It only needs to be in the right size so I can get a full idea when I do need to construct it by hand with other materials. And I personally like modeling in Blender because of its freedom and speed. I know how to model stuff in Maya, but oftentimes I feel like it's so slow and a bit limiting because Blender, on the other hand, is just complete freedom. And as an artist, I don't need to pay any license fee to do freelance work with Blender because it's completely open source. So now I'm positioning a rough block that represent the teeth. The Ubisoft artist did an awesome job of creating asymmetry and variation between the teeth so it looks organic and cool. I'm not gonna concern myself with that in this stage because again this is the block out model. I'm mostly paying attention to the position and relative sizes. For the unique personality and twists and turns, I'm gonna handle that in the sculpting pass. So this is the end of part 1. I will be polishing the model and 3D printing it, so tag along if you want to see how this goes, and in the end I will release all the model on Thingiverse so you can do it yourself. See you!